almost forgot the punchline, which is that the whole purpose of Vighi's masperization here, of his stripping parts from the truthful analysis, mystifying them, putting them in using all these rhetorical, propagandistic techniques, that you can read about on changingminds.org, all the, the con artistry and PR tactics and stuff that he uses, but he's mystifying a little bit of the truth. He's taken a little bit of the truth that's very powerful. He's put it into styles that are powerfully attractive. They are hailing a certain audience. And he's made total bullshit out of it, but it's bullshit that it's not just random inanity and nonsense. What it is a manipulation to try to provoke in the reader's mind, in the listener's mind, in your mind, a desire, a certain question, which is how are we going to protect our real economy, quote unquote, from this chaos, from this storm that humanity created. And then also he portrays with the therapeutic coma, the economy needing a therapeutic coma, he's portraying like human needs and human self-provisioning and humanity itself as the fundamental problem, that it's it's the cause of inflation or whatever, but it's a completely fabricated bit of nonsense, a bit of storytelling that its emotional impact is to make you suspicious of not just economic growth, but the growth of the absolute growth of use values, that is human flourishing, human reproduction, human satisfaction, and that this is a danger, to something that is the higher good, whatever that is, and he leaves that vague all the time. Some kind of crisis is going to happen that's going to cause chaos for something, but he just leaves it all unsaid. As Zizek did, if you go back, he's aping him exactly from the first stage of the financial crisis, where there's this idea that everything's going to collapse, and like as if the financial system creates the water and creates the coffee, etc., and that the human needs, the human beings who create this, who trade it, etc., are actually the threat. So he does that with his, just metaphorically, without stating it, so it can't invite rebuttal. It has a force field where it's just a metaphor. So there was that, and then he wants you to ask the question, well, how are we going to protect ourselves? How will the ruling class, save us, protect us, steer this ship out of the storm, save everyone in the hold, protect us from the chaos that they've created in their fake economy, their other world of finance? How is the real economy going to be protected? The quote, real economy, unquote, and it's going to be protected. He wants you to start dreaming of exactly what they want to do, which is the hugest robbery, the final enclosure, which is to separate wage money from capital liquidity. And they're relying on the childishness they've inculcated, the infantilism, that people just react to certain words and concepts like money or banks with a sense of oh, that's the villain. Yeah, of course, that's all bad. That money is bad. Money is a terrible thing that happened to us because it's already a form of slavery, become a worse form of slavery, which is exactly what they're trying to do, trying to make out of it yet more slavery, inescapable slavery with no room to maneuver. Capitalism, as Marx taught us, it's a form of slavery, a form of exploitation that also has the quality that it is a condition in which the proletarian has the power to free everybody forever, to finally get rid of class society, which after 1,000,000 years of our existence emerged and, ruined the lives of, most people since it emerged. So, the ruling class wants to eliminate capitalism, not because capitalism is a form of slavery, but it's because it's a chain that people can get out of and will eventually and must. And, they want a better one, a better form of slavery, an inescapable form. The same thing with the banks. The banks, of course, are institutions that, people are like, oh yeah, fuck the banksters and stuff. Well, the banks are institutions that the ruling class control, and their program and their successes for the past 20 years allowed them now to actually shift all the losses, use the banks to shift the losses to the working class and to the middle classes. What they did, if you look, and the bankrupted banks, they sold, the ruling class sold all the shares in the banks at top dollar to the working class, to the pension funds and the mutual funds, and to themselves to a point, a little bit, they own some mutual funds, but to the masses, they were sold that the last people have any money, but collectively, because the asset managers, of course, corruptly control all this money, and they bought those shares right before the shares were going to be worthless, and that's an enormous theft. And so it's not, that people have to really, be Deleuzian, be Marxist, not be manipulated by these, figures in a video game of this is the bank, money is bad, bank is bad, and this incredibly infantile discourse that we're being invited to supply. And Vighi is, he's not that good at it. Zizek was better, but the whole thing that he's doing is telling the same story that Zizek told, a totally bogus story, which is, financialization was a wild idea. Let the genie out of the bottle. Now there's the turbulence and chaos. We saw this, all the trots wrote this, every article in the New Left Review is this for years. And now they don't know what to do, but they know they have to prevent a massive crash, which they couldn't even describe what they mean by crash. It's just a metaphor. Nothing actually crashes. You have to go sit down and actually tell yourself the whole story. Do the history. What does that mean when assets lose value? And then they tell this story that, so the ruling class is scrambling to save the world, basically. It's a story that they have to save the world, and the only way they can save the world is by this so-called therapeutic coma that is, basically depopulation and degrowth and austerity and robbery and reducing people to cattle and getting rid of a lot. And Vighi tells this as a sort of inescapable thing that is going to save something, just the way Zizek told that story, to a room in London, to a same room full of the same type of people, like probably all white, and a manufactured environment of clerks who, because the effort has been put in to antagonize and discourage most people, the working class, from participating in these events of critique on purpose, so that they can be taken in this direction, so that there's nobody intelligent to object, so there's nobody educated, etc. And then, to tell this story that is pitching you on not just acceptance of what the ruling class did as these necessary measures, but to make you feel like the next thing that you have to start demanding the separation of wage money as a safety measure, just what the Omarovas and others are saying. We can secure the economy. This is just, Nazism. The turbulence of capitalism has to be mastered, by the enlightened elite who have to have all these ideals or whatever, and that the humanity and the market itself, like it literally, exchanges and consumption are the danger. They pose some kind of danger, and that's a narrative that's being sold completely emotionally. It's all with metaphors and similes and imagery that makes no sense, that has no reference, that doesn't stand up, that you can't explain. But people are being encouraged to accept it with these, kind of cheeseball PR and tactics and carn artistry that's, been developed, and also that people have been infantilized and trained to accept and respond to, and sort of exhausted. The idea of critiquing it is sort of exhausting.